June 6, 1944. 9:50 a.m. Omaha Beach, Normandy. Commander Joseph McCoy stood on the bridge of USS Frankford, a destroyer designed to fight other warships in open ocean, watching American soldiers die on the beach 3,000 yards away. Through his binoculars, he could see bodies in the surf, wounded men crawling toward cover, entire companies pinned down by German machine gun fire. The plan had been for destroyers to provide long-range fire support, stay offshore at safe distance, lob 5-inch shells at German positions based on coordinates radioed from shore fire control parties. But the shore fire control parties were dead. The radios were destroyed. And the soldiers on Omaha Beach were being slaughtered by German guns firing from concrete bunkers that naval bombardment had failed to destroy. McCoy watched another wave of landing craft approach the beach. Watched men wade into waist-deep water. Watched German machine guns cut them down before they reached the sand. Then McCoy made a decision that violated every rule of naval warfare. He was going to drive his 2,200-ton destroyer, a ship that drew 13 feet of water, into the shallows where the water was 18 feet deep, get close enough to see individual German soldiers, and use his ship's guns to destroy every bunker, every machine gun nest, every German position within range. Even if it meant running his destroyer aground. Even if it meant becoming a stationary target for German shore batteries. Even if it meant losing his ship. Because soldiers were dying, and USS Frankford had 5.5-inch guns that could save them. What happened next, the closest naval gunfire support action in U.S. Navy history, would save hundreds of lives and help turn the disaster at Omaha Beach into a hard-won victory. This is the story of the Navy destroyer that charged the beach to save soldiers. By 9:30 a.m. on D-Day, Omaha Beach was a killing ground. The first wave had been devastated, over 50% casualties in some units. The second and third waves suffered nearly as badly. Bodies floated in the surf. Wounded men lay in the sand, unable to move forward or back. The problem was German fortifications. Pre-invasion intelligence had identified most of the bunkers and gun positions, but assumed naval and air bombardment would destroy them. The assumption was catastrophically wrong. German bunkers were reinforced concrete, 6 feet thick in some cases, designed to withstand direct hits from battleship guns. Many were built into the cliffs, making them nearly impossible to target from ships offshore. And German defenders had survived the bombardment largely intact, manning their weapons, waiting for American infantry. The result was a massacre. Company A, 116th Infantry Regiment lost 96% of its men in the first 30 minutes. Companies landing after them faced the same concentrated fire. By mid-morning, over 2,000 American soldiers were casualties, dead, wounded, or missing. And still men kept landing, wading into fire, dying in the water or on the sand. From 3,000 yards offshore, Navy destroyers could see the disaster unfolding but couldn't do much about it. Their fire control systems were designed for long-range naval engagements, not close-in fire support. Their guns were aimed using coordinates called in by shore fire control parties, but most of those parties were dead, their radios destroyed. Without precise coordinates, destroyers couldn't fire close to friendly forces. Risk of hitting American troops was too high. So the destroyers sat offshore, guns largely silent, watching soldiers die. Commander Joseph McCoy, commanding officer of USS Frankford, decided that wasn't acceptable. McCoy radioed his superior, the destroyer squadron commander, request permission to move inshore and provide direct fire support. The response, negative. Water too shallow. Risk of grounding too high. McCoy looked at the beach. Looked at his charts showing water depth. Looked at his ship's draft, 13 feet. The charts showed 18 to 20 feet of water at 1,000 yards from shore. Theoretically enough clearance. But theoretically and safely were different things. Tides, underwater obstacles, uncharted sandbars, any of those could ground his ship. And a destroyer run aground within range of German 88mm shore batteries would be destroyed within minutes. But McCoy had made his decision. He turned to his navigator, "We're going in. Close to 1,000 yards. I want every gun on that ship aimed at German positions." The navigator protested, "Sir, we'll be within small arms range. They can hit us with rifles." McCoy, "Then they'll be close enough for us to hit them with everything we have. Engines ahead full. Sound general quarters. All guns prepare to engage shore targets." USS Frankford, a Fletcher-class destroyer designed to fight in deep ocean, turned toward shore and accelerated to 20 knots. Heading toward water that might be too shallow. Heading toward German guns. Heading toward the beach where American soldiers were dying. The crew understood what was happening. This wasn't normal destroyer operations. This was a suicide run, drive close enough to help the infantry, consequences be damned. But not one man objected. They'd all seen the beach. They'd all watched men die. If their ship could help, they'd risk it. At 10:05 a.m., USS Frankford crossed the 2,000-yard line, closer to shore than any destroyer had yet ventured at Omaha Beach. McCoy could see individual soldiers through his binoculars. Could see German muzzle flashes from bunkers. Could identify specific targets. Turret 1, target bunker, beach left flank. Range 1,500 yards. Load he. Fire when ready. Frankfurt's forward 5-inch gun fired. The high-explosive shell covered 1,500 yards in approximately 2 seconds, hit the bunker's firing aperture, detonated inside. The German machine gun went silent. Target destroyed. Turret 2, target concrete position, center beach. The second gun fired. Another bunker hit. Another German position eliminated. McCoy pressed closer. At 10:12 a.m., Frankfurt crossed the 1,000-yard line. The destroyer was now so close to shore that German soldiers could be seen with the naked eye. German machine guns fired at the ship, bullets spanging off the steel hull, ineffective but unnerving. An 88mm shore battery, German artillery piece designed to kill tanks, opened fire on Frankfurt. The first round missed, exploding in the water 50 yards short. The second round missed over, passing above the ship's superstructure. McCoy didn't flinch. Turret 3, target that 88mm battery. Fire for effect. 3 5-inch rounds landed within seconds of each other, bracketing the German gun position. The 88mm fell silent. For the next 40 minutes, USS Frankfurt operated at point-blank range, for a naval vessel, systematically destroying German positions. The 5 5-inch guns fired over 300 rounds. Every bunker, every machine gun nest, every defensive position that could be seen from the ship was targeted and destroyed. The effect on Omaha Beach was immediate and dramatic. Soldiers who'd been pinned down for hours suddenly found themselves able to move. German fire slackened as positions were destroyed. Infantry began advancing off the beach, using the destroyer's fire as cover. Operating at 1,000 yards from shore, USS Frankfurt was in constant danger. The water depth was marginal. Sonar showed 18 feet beneath the keel, only 5 feet of clearance. Any uncharted obstacle could rip the bottom out of the ship. Any sandbar could ground them. German fire intensified. The 88mm battery that had been silenced was replaced by another. German mortars began dropping rounds near the ship, not accurate enough to hit a moving target, but close enough to be terrifying. And other German guns, hidden in the cliffs, camouflaged in the landscape, began engaging Frankford. The destroyer took multiple hits. 88mm round through the forward stack, passed through without exploding. Machine gun fire riddled the superstructure, cosmetic damage but terrifying. Mortar round exploded on the fantail, wounded 3 sailors, damaged depth charge racks. But Frankford kept firing. Kept maneuvering. Kept destroying German positions. Other destroyers saw what Frankford was doing and followed. USS McCoy closed to 1,200 yards. USS Carmick moved to 800 yards, so close her crew could hear German voices shouting. USS Doyle closed to 1,000 yards and took over 100 hits from German small arms fire. The destroyer screen, designed to protect capital ships in open ocean, had become assault guns, charging the beach, trading fire with shore batteries at ranges that would have seemed insane 24 hours earlier. And it worked. German defensive fire collapsed under the weight of naval gunfire. Bunkers that had survived aerial bombardment were destroyed by 5-inch shells fired at point-blank range. Machine gun positions that had pinned down entire companies were eliminated. By 11 a.m., infantry was moving off Omaha Beach in significant numbers. By noon, the beachhead was secure. By evening, over 34,000 men were ashore and advancing inland. USS Frankford withdrew from the beach at 2 p.m., after nearly 4 hours of close-range combat. The destroyer had fired over 305-inch rounds, taken multiple hits, suffered 3 wounded crew members, and come within feet of running aground twice. But the ship was still afloat. Still operational. And hundreds of soldiers were alive because of what Frankford had done. Admiral John Hall, commanding the Naval Task Force at Omaha Beach, later wrote, "The destroyers saved the day at Omaha. Their willingness to close to point-blank range and engage German positions directly prevented what could have been a complete disaster." USS Frankford's aggressive action inspired other destroyers to follow, creating a naval fire support effort that was unprecedented in its effectiveness. General Omar Bradley, commanding U.S. ground forces, was even more direct. "Without the destroyer's gunfire, we would have been thrown back into the sea." The Navy saved the Army that morning. But the official credit went to destroyer operations generally, not to specific ships or commanders. McCoy's decision to violate doctrine and charge the beach wasn't highlighted in after-action reports, perhaps because it showed how badly pre-invasion planning had failed. McCoy didn't care about credit. In post-war interviews, his response was consistent: "We had guns. Soldiers needed support. We got close enough to help them. That's what Navy does."